Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Politics and Pop Culture with Ciara.
And Chris, thanks so much for joining us for Ep.5. Today is September 23rd, Wednesday, 2020. I totally butchered that. It's Wednesday, September 23rd, 2020.
It'd be like that,
And
quarantine.
Ciara, how are you feeling? Middle of the week? Hump day?
I am feeling good, blessed, happy to be alive. So much is going on every single day, and I'm just so thankful that I can keep a steady head.
I love that. There's
How
so
about
much
you?
just going on in the world, and I'm enjoying, like I say every day, I'm enjoying the fall temperature because I was living in Los Angeles for a year. So as it cools down, I feel like I'm just level-headed. I feel like things are just like taking its course. And there's so much fun stuff going on in the news today. What are you following? What are you reading these days?
Okay, well, this one isn't fun, but we're just going to jump right into the politics.
Let's get
This
it.
Breonna Taylor update. So 6, Louisville or Louisville?
I think
How do
people
you
say
pronounce it?
both. People say both, but I always say Louisville.
Okay. 6 Louisville Metro Police Department officers are under internal investigation for their actions the night Breonna Taylor was shot and killed in her home. One of those officers who fired into the 26-year-old EMT's home during a March 13 raid. March 13, that's when this happened. I think,
And now
what is
we're in
that, 7 months?
September, and this
Sent
woman
a
is dead.
Okay, so one of the officers, sent a mass email to the department yesterday defending his actions and criticizing the city's leadership. Meanwhile, Louisville authorities have declared a state of emergency and restricted downtown access ahead of a grand jury's decision on whether criminal charges should be brought against the officers involved. An announcement is expected sometime soon, and I just want to say one of the things that he brought up, which was kind of startling to me. It says in the email, Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly told his colleagues they do not deserve to be in this position where thugs are allowed to get into your face and yell, curse, and degrade you. And if officers make a mistake during the most stressful times in your career, the department and FBI go after you for civil rights violations. What do you think about this?
There was a part in the letter that stuck out to me that he said, we feel like we didn't do anything wrong. Where was that quote? Where he literally was like, we did what we could ethically, morally. There was a quote where is that quote? That he literally said that
Oh,
they
here we
felt
go.
like
Regardless of the outcome today or Wednesday, I know we did the legal, moral, and ethical thing that night. It's sad how the good guys are demonized and criminals are canyonized. And
that's
then he
awful.
calls city and police leaders pencil pushers. And he says, I'm proof they do not care about you or your family, and you are replaceable.
I hear that as I did nothing wrong. I am a victim. I'm the one that is getting all of the negative blowback, and I don't deserve this. And I think there is no responsibility there. Now, there should be an apology. Why can't they just say, like, hey, we messed up and we shouldn't have
Right.
shot up in this woman's home 10 times? You killed someone. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
all and your actions. And I also
Who was
read
not a criminal or a thug.
they went to the house because there were reports that they were selling drugs in the home, right? So they
Mm-hmm.
get a call. There was an ambulance that came with the police. They told the ambulance to go away. Why would you tell the ambulance to go away? You all did not care for this woman's life. Go into the house, shoot it up. There was a whole ballistic report that was just submitted to Daniel Cameron's office explaining how many bullets and things hit the home. They never found any drugs. They said that the person that was having packages sent to Breonna Taylor's home that she had no relationship with, you cannot look at this and just think this was a innocent woman who was subject to an awful bad decision. And it just makes no sense. And she deserves justice. Those police officers should be ashamed of themselves. Not only do they need to be arrested, they need to publicly apologize, because the whole notion and messaging that you're sending out by killing this Black woman and not saying that I'm sorry, not saying that we did anything wrong, it just puts out that we don't care about Black women in our society. And that's why the whole idea of Black Lives Matter is important. The statement
Mm-hmm.
Black Lives Matter, because by us not giving these people justice, by us not prioritizing these cases, by letting all these months go by and not holding anyone accountable, it makes it seem like we didn't care. We didn't
Exactly.
care.
And it's like, quick and speedy trial, hello, like that's in the Constitution. Like, this needed to be done so much faster, get this over with so much quicker. And it's like, the fact that it's dragged out this long, the fact that he feels this way is just one of the reasons why people are saying abolish the police and defund the police.
Yep.
Because you're not using this money to hire the best people for the job, to train them. Why aren't there any therapists, social workers in the police department? So police officers do go through a lot of stress, yes, and they need to be able to work through that, to train through that. And why didn't these cops know Breonna Taylor and her boyfriend beforehand? Why don't police officers know their community beforehand? That's also a scary thing. And it's just like, by prolonging this whole process, 7 months, really? To learn everything you need to learn.
Awful message.
And it prolongs the rage. It prolongs the riots, because for 7 months you are having riots and protests for arrest the cops, all right? And then after the trial's over, you're probably gonna have some more protests if it doesn't go the way it should go, or the way the people want it to go. And if these cops don't get arrested, then you're gonna have another slew of protests, where we could have just condensed this whole thing together if it was a quick and speedy trial, and y'all did what you were going to do 7 months ago to these officers, and the people could respond how they were going to respond and show that they want justice. But now it's just going to be so much longer and so much more thought out, and how much more money is going to have to go into defense. You know, they're heightening security around this time when the trial's going on. So it's just like why? Y'all did this on purpose. And I'm just like, why? And also the whole rhetoric, people make mistakes, right? I'm not excusing it, but as a culture, we need to find a better way on how to not put so much shame on mistakes, for where the person who makes the mistake feels defensive, like they can't even apologize because they just are so enraged. We need to really work through what happens after somebody makes a mistake, and how to properly atone for that mistake and make amends for that mistake, so people aren't just like, I didn't do nothing. No, I did something wrong. I know I made a mistake, and this is what I need to do, and just not feel so much shame into getting held accountable for your mistakes. And I don't like how we put thugs in here. Like, who are you talking about? You're talking about Black people. Like, you're showing yourself, you're showing the racism, sir. So yeah, that's how I feel.
I agree with a lot of what you said. It's also very important that we say that it was reported that the decision we made this weekend, that they are under a state of emergency, and that people are boarding up their businesses. People are boarding up, making sure that security is in place. Like, they know that something bad is about to happen, because there's no way that Daniel Cameron is unsure at this very moment of what he's going to do. I don't believe that. I believe that with this much publicity, this big of a case, he knows what he's going to do. And so he already
knew what he was going to do.
He probably been new. And so now the fact that they're getting the whole city like all set up because they know it's about to be a lot of protests, I feel like this is about to get really, really ugly, and it really breaks my heart, because they really just should have been arrested and fired.
And it's, yeah, like, you killed someone. Like, no matter what your job description is, it's just like, that is not okay. And I'm just waiting for Trump to say something in defense of this foolery.
Was speaking at the RNC. So when you put these people up, it shows that not only are you like complicit in their behaviors, but you're like advocating for them. Like, by saying like, oh, of all the people he could have had come up to the RNC, like, he chose Daniel Cameron. I think that sends a bad message out. I don't think that, like, Donald Trump, how can you understand the complexity of the case, knowing what Beyonce and Oprah and all of these people, everybody putting on some Black Lives Matter, so Breonna Taylor, say her name, and then you not only disregard that. I've never heard Donald Trump even say Breonna Taylor's name, but even Daniel Cameron, who's in charge of the case, bring him at the RNC and let him speak, give him a bigger platform so when people are talking about him.
Right.
What is
and
that
it's say? Like, is Daniel Cameron really for Law and Order if it's taking him this long to really do things? Like, is he really a Law and Order candidate? Because I haven't seen any Law and Order happening in regards to this Breonna Taylor case. So it's just like, how are you going to have this man up here? He's supposed to be doing quick and speedy trials, but he's not doing that. So if I were, a white Law and Order citizen, I'm just like, I don't see anything happening.
I feel in my heart that this Breonna Taylor situation is about to get worse.
And
It's
Because the
unfortunate.
system was never fixed before. Police officers don't get arrested for killing Black people for no reason. And they didn't resolve that situation in prior cases since the beginning of time. So it's like, we know that nothing has changed in regards to the laws and the system and the way that juries feel about these high tense situations. So it's just like, what do we expect?
And that's why the Black Lives Matter movement is like abolish the whole thing, which I think is a little too extreme. But I can understand that thinking when people just feel like the whole system is bad. I can understand it. Not saying I agree with it, but I can understand, because when we see these things in clear day and in the media and in our day-to-day lives, and we have these conversations, it makes you feel like, well, who's for me? Nobody.
Mm-hmm,
So I can
mm-hmm.
understand where that's coming from.
So with that being said, another form of activism, National Voter Day was yesterday.
Yes, National Voter Registration Day was yesterday, and this is a national bipartisan holiday where people are encouraged to make sure that they're registered to vote. As people are aware, we are less than 45 days away from the general election that is going to take place November 3rd, and I hope that you have your plan. I have talked to Ciara off camera and on, and I'm excited to vote. I have my polling place, I have my ID, and I'm excited. I plan on voting in my state in person and early during that first week of October. What about you, Ciara? What's your voting plan?
I should be expecting my absentee ballot by tomorrow is when they're going to start getting sent out. And then I'm going to take my ballot directly to the clerk's office, and they have a ballot collection box, and I'm going to put my ballot in there. And then in Michigan online, you can track your ballot. So you'll know like when it was cast and not like when it was cast.
I love that, because we're in this new day of like the coronavirus pandemic. You have to have a voting plan. Everything's a little bit different now. If you want an absentee ballot, I understand that there's certain states that will not let you say the coronavirus is the reason I'm not voting. So you have to understand like what is applicable laws in your state, what you're going to do about those, and make a plan that works for you and your community. So both of us have done that, and we just encourage and implore you to get informed about the issues, to make sure that you get your plan, get registered, and make sure that your voice is heard in one of the most powerful and impactful elections of our lifetime.
Yes, agree. And early voting has started in some states. So it's kind of, I'm anxious because it's like people are already casting their votes when there's still like, a month and some days left of so many more news stories to happen. And so in a way, I'm like, yes, cast your vote now, like do it early, do it now. If you know, because I know a lot of people know. But then with that being said, what I see happening in the news is like, so as soon as something good happens on one side, then the other side is going to put something out to degrade that. So for example, Cindy McCain came out and endorsed Joe Biden
Which is not a
like
surprise.
last night.
Mm-hmm.
And not a surprise at all. And then, so that was last night. And then this morning, so that was trending like #1 on Twitter last night. And then this morning trending is Hunter Biden and how, he was on the board of like Russian and Chinese companies, and was it an illegal contract? Were they doing like, illegal business? And so now that's like #2 trending on Twitter this morning. So it's kind of like, it's always going to be this volley back and forth. But honestly, in my opinion, nothing could be worse than how Trump has responded to this pandemic. And with that being said, I know, you know what I mean? This Hunter Biden thing is old. It's old. It's been out. And so it's like to try and like keep on bringing up this dirt. It's just for the purpose to stay trending. And I'm just like, just stop, run your race, okay? And people are going to vote.
Because I believe what you're saying in regards, I think people know. I would be surprised if people are still kind of unsure who they want. I think politics has become just pop culture. There is no dichotomy of the two. Like everyone is talking about, like Jimmy Fallon and Stephen Colbert, like everybody is talking about politics. So I think people kind of understand where they stand in the line and who they're going to vote for. And I just encourage everybody, just get out there, make sure that your voice is heard, have these conversations, make sure your family are aware, voting, your friends, and make sure that your voice is heard in this upcoming election because it's important.
Yes.
Happy National Voter Registration Day, belated National Voter Registration Day. Make sure you're registered to vote, get involved, make sure your voice is heard.
Make sure, 5 close people, talk to 5 people, make sure they're registered to vote. screenshot your, I'm registered, send it to each other, make a group, check on your grandparents, your parents, directly, like not just a text, like call them up, help them out. Make sure it's getting done, folks.
Absolutely, so important. In the world of pop culture, Page Six has reported that Kim Kardashian is thinking about divorcing Kanye West in light of his latest episode. Page Six is exclusively told. A source close to the couple tells Page Six that West's bipolar disorder and his anti-abortion stance have taken a toll on their crumbling marriage. An insider has shared Kim has a whole divorce planned out, but she's waiting for him to get through his latest episode. Over the past few months, as many of you are aware, Kanye West, who is 43, has been extremely vocal about being pro-life, telling a rally crowd that he and Kim Kardashian nearly aborted their oldest child, daughter, Northwest. He said, I almost killed my daughter during the July event. No more plan B, plan A. Not long after, Kardashian defended the Jesus is King rapper and opened up about his mental health struggles. A source separate later told Page Six that she wouldn't divorce West because it wasn't a good look at the time. What do you think about the Kim Kardashian and Kanye West union? Do you think that it's over? Do you think this is a publicity stunt? Where do we feel about the state of their marriage?
I think it is extremely hard and tricky when you're dealing with someone like with bipolar disorder and trying to manage billions of dollars, 4 kids, a marriage. Now, I don't know what their home looks like. I don't know if they're actually spending time together, but regardless, like they have public images, and I feel like Kanye is kind of like disrupting that public image that makes Kim Kardashian money. Fans love Kim Kardashian, like love. And I also think at the same time, you can't enable certain behaviors. You know what I mean? So yes, if someone is suffering with mental illness, you can be an enabler and kind of just give in to every whim and just stand by them, like regardless of everything that they're saying or doing. But then that's just enabling, the problem further. So I think there does come a time when if it's too much, like you should be able to separate yourself from that. But then again, I'm like, if you divorce them, I feel like that's just for the public. You know what I mean? Like, y'all don't have to live together or do any of this other stuff. Like, y'all can still be legally married and live separate lives. But if she divorces, she's making a public declaration that I don't stand with his views or where he's going and I can't take it anymore. So I think she would want to like divorce their ideologies, their beliefs from each other. But I'm just like, Sunday service. Can one person be pro-life in a couple and one person be pro-choice? I don't know.
Well, I think, first of all, we have to entertain the idea that this whole thing could just be a lie. We don't know what's going on in their homes. Like, I don't know who told Page Six, whatever, but we don't know. I don't think that if they were to get divorced, it would have anything to do with their public images at all. I think when we look at these as just human beings, like every day, like I watch the show and I follow Kim closely. So I kind of see the little cracks of just how stressful it can be. I remember there was an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. She was like, I just have no more I can give. Like, I'm in law school. I got these babies. I'm trying to do these business. I'm wore down. So I think just as a woman, she's probably just very, very overwhelmed, and it's probably just a lot to deal with. And she probably just can't take it. It's not like they need each other in regards to like money. It's not like Kim Kardashian doesn't have upwards of close to her own $1 billion. Kanye West definitely is a billionaire that we've been told. So I think that they really have some serious issues that are going on in their marriage, and I just hope that they can figure it out, because breaking down a family, especially like their son Psalm is like a baby, like he wouldn't even have any memories of them being married. So that's tough. So I don't look at this as a publicity stunt or as something that media should even be talking about. It's like, this is a real fan with like 4 kids that are involved. So I'm hoping that they figure it out, and I hope that Kanye West just takes care of himself and that he does everything he needs to do to get in a good headspace.
And I think this is also probably the reason, not the reason, but another step for them to become more private as a family. Like they don't have their show anymore. And so I think that's kind of in a way saying we are we are closing the blinds. We are not revealing ourselves as much as we have been before. So I think this could like go into that further of them kind of rebranding themselves like just business, not personal,
I
as
agree.
far as media fodder and the public.
And the fact that they were able to stay out in the public eye for so long, as long as they have, like, they really revolutionized reality television. I think the first episode of the Kardashians came out in 2007. And so
Mm-hmm.
to be able to be on a show that long and be that public and go through things, but still kind of have that nuclear family base, I think is very remarkable. We'll be following this story and wish them the best of luck.
Yes. So the Time 100 Most Influential People list has come out, and it's diverse
Very diverse.
in jobs, in color, in geography, in profession, in LGBTQ. I like this list. We have Meg Thee Stallion.
Mhm.
We have Tomi Adeyemi. I know a lot of people might not know her, but she has written a sci-fi book called Children of Blood and Bone, which I am just so much a fan of. Who else do we have? Dr. Fauci
Dr.
coming
Fauci.
through.
I think Dr. Fauci is enjoying the rock star treatment just a smidge. Who wouldn't want to be a rock star?
This is the time for doctors and scientists to
To be
get
cool.
their, just to get their media coverage, to get their shine, to get their accolades. Like, this is their time. Like, who would have thunk that Dr. Fauci, that doctors, that scientists would be front page news, would be trending on Twitter? I'm sure they would have never thought this.
Did
But
you see his Vanity Fair cover?
yes, but like this is just a scientist's like dream, just to have the world just be interested and listening to the facts and to what's going on. Like Dr. Fauci, like who would have thunk when he was going to school that the whole world would
Will
be
know his
listening to him
name.
talk about viruses and all of this other stuff. So I'm sure they're living, but then again, it's a pandemic, it's serious stuff, but give them their flowers. So we have Jojo Siwa.
Mhm.
Are you a fan of Jojo?
I have no idea who that is, but I do know that Kim Kardashian retweeted that person and said, like, congrats. Like, who is JoJo Siwa?
The kids love her. She's a YouTube star. She was on Dance Moms, which is where I know her from. And she wears big bows in her hair. And she's just loud. Like, she's very colorful. She has products everywhere.
Okay.
Like, who's
Did she host Northwest at her house one time?
Yes. Yes,
Got it. That's why.
she did the birthday party for Northwest. She did a birthday party for T.I.'s daughter. Like, she just creates this kid experience, and she is raking in the money. Jennifer Hudson, Yo-Yo Ma, Michaela Cole. Do you follow Michaela Cole?
I have no idea who that is either.
Have you heard of Chewing Gum on Netflix?
Yes. Is that the lead actress, the
Yeah,
black woman?
yeah. She's the lead actress, and she wrote the show. And so
But
she
they
has
canceled that show.
yeah, but that's an interesting, she had this whole, oh my God, Chris, where have you been?
It's a lot to follow in the world. A lot to
Yeah,
follow.
yeah. But she talks about in a lot of interviews, I definitely suggest listening to some of her interviews and reading some of her interviews as well.
Because she's British
But
American, right? She's
yeah,
not like.
she's not American, she's British.
Mhm.
So she had 2 seasons with Netflix, and then she's kind of at this relationship where like a lot of Black women are, where they become gatekeepers. So like they become these people who can possibly bring more people in to do what they do. And so she was planning on bringing in more writers for her show Chewing Gum. And she wanted other Black writers, minority writers, to come in and write for her show. And the channel, the network, was giving her the ring around on it. And, in the last second, they were like, actually, we just want you to write the show. And she's like, actually, no, because that's not what y'all said to my face before. So she's kind of like this year, she's kind of being an advocate for not just taking what the big upper heads are taking you. Like, don't just accept anything. Like, really only take what you want. So she has a wonderful show called I May Destroy You on HBO, talking about sexual assault in kind of like a dark comedy way. And Netflix made an offer for it, but she was like, Netflix wasn't going to give her any of the copyright or distribution rights. They were going to own all the rights to the work. And she was like, no. And she walked away, and her agents were like, what are you doing? Like, everyone was like, who walks away from a Netflix deal? And she was like, I did, because it's my work and I want to own my work.
Love
so
that.
she's dope.
Wow.
She's dope. Anthony Fauci, Kamala Harris, Donald Trump,
Tyler Perry,
Joe Biden, Tyler Perry. It's just, he out here. He was like, I'm going to do my thing my way, write all my work, and y'all just gonna accept it.
Correct.
We have Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade. And in an article I was reading, it was really for Zaya and how they came out as parents in support of their daughter. So that's like one of the main reasons why they are on the list. And then a lot of people, you know, you've never heard of. The Black Lives Matter founders, Billy Porter, Naomi Osaka, Angela Davis, Allison Felix,
100 really strong people.
Yeah, A.D. Barkin, who was making his way. He was on the DNC fighting for the Affordable Care Act. So many influential people. I love it. I love it. They're so inspiring. They're just so inspiring.
Congrats.
You're going to be on that list. You're going to be on that list, Chris.
What? Let's see. So I can influence people to do something right. Why was it Candace Owens on the list?
I was thinking that too. Where are the conservatives? We got Donald Trump. And I haven't read about a lot of these people. Some might be conservatives.
Possibly. I think Candace, people are still getting hip to Candace Owens. People really don't know her like that. Like, this is her first book. So. Like, before she was just like kind of someone who's just going viral, like talking, but like now she like has work. Like, this is Candace Owens' book. That, like, I think once you have a book, it really legitimizes you. It's like real work being done. I mean, you know.
But I also still think she's still on all of the conservative. Like, she hasn't gone mainstream.
Cardi B helps with that though. That Cardi B, really, you know, that's all Candace Owens. Yep, congratulations to everybody who made the list. We'll shout out to y'all. Ciara, you on that list?
Yeah.
I love that.
We'll see. I'm going to live my life, and wherever that leads me, it leads me.
I love that. Would you like to wrap us up with something to give the people some hope? We always try to do politics, we do pop culture, but we also do people. We're people.
Yes. So me and Chris were talking earlier just on this notion of unconditional love when it comes to friendship, when it comes to family. People aren't really practicing unconditional love. I think with a lot of things, like you see someone you know doing something you don't like, or someone makes a mistake, and it's just like you throw them out, just like, nope, not dealing with that anymore, and moving on, back to the hustle, back to the grind. I can find new friends. I can find somebody new. But I think we should just focus on unconditional love and what that really means, and why it's so important to have unconditional love in your life, to have people in your life where, regardless what you do, what mistakes you've made, they're going to be there for you, and they're going to rock with you through tough moments and still love you regardless, because they know your soul, and they know who you are as a person, and they know your potential just to be here on this earth. And so also, with that being said, how I like to look at it as, I feel like I have unconditional love from my parents, right? And we see unconditional love with God, right? God gives us unconditional love. And so if you feel that love from God, just try and match that with people in your life, just people who are giving you unconditional love, and hold on to that and work on those relationships that you know that person, you know their soul, you know what they're trying to do out here in the world. So regardless of the hiccups, the mistakes, you're still going to work with them through those hard moments. And so practice unconditional love with yourself also, and with other people.
So very important. Tough, countercultural. I don't think most people believe that. Most people believe in cancel culture, but such an important message. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes, we all deserve. We all deserve.
Well,
So I think that's it for the day, Chris.
another episode. Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 5. This is our 5th episode of Politics and Pop Culture. And hopefully one day we'll get to, 50 and 100. And I've just really,
Yes.
and Ciara, I've really enjoyed this dialogue that we've been having. I love that we create this show. If this is your first time ever checking out an episode of ours, make sure that you follow us and subscribe. We do new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday via podcast and on YouTube. So subscribe, comment, share, and support.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Chris, I love how you like the Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Like you kind of sometimes condense the word. You're like Wednesday. And I'm like, make it one word, Chris.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Yes.
New episodes.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for watching Politics and Pop Culture with Ciara
And Chris, thanks so much for another episode. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.